Felicitous greetings, fellow fanatics.
Welcome back one and all, I'm Adam the Fanatic, and today we're taking a look at Purim, a biblically themed action selection title by Funhill Games. Please keep in mind that this is a preview based off of a prototype. As such, nothing herein is finalized and anything seen is subject to change. As you may have already surmised, this game is based off of the Jewish holiday of the same name as well as the biblical book of Esther. If you're already familiar with such, or simply wish to skip ahead to see how the game plays, jump to the timestamp indicated on screen now. For the rest of you, here's the short version. Around the 5th century BC, Israel and its surrounding areas were under the occupation of the Medo-Persian Empire. One of the capitals of the empire was Susa, where Mordecai and his adopted daughter Esther lived. After King Xerxes banished his first wife, Queen Vashti, he eventually comes to marry Esther, though bear in mind that she hides her Jewish heritage at this point. Meanwhile, Mordecai makes enemies with a court official named Haman, refusing to bow before him. Haman plots to have Mordecai executed as a result, but soon learns that Mordecai has gained Xerxes' favor. Although the king does not know the relation between Mordecai and Esther, Mordecai thwarted an assassination attempt on the king, making him untouchable. So instead of acting rationally, Haman decides to take pettiness to a whole new level. Haman convinces King Xerxes that there are plans of a Jewish uprising throughout the empire and convinces him to sign an edict to wipe them out on the 13th day of Adar, a day determined by the throwing of lots, known as Purim in Hebrew. When Mordecai tells Esther of this, she goes before the king unannounced, an act that, even for the queen, can result in execution, and asks if she may prepare a feast for him. He assents, and it's there that Esther reveals her heritage as well as the full extent of Haman's plot. Haman is executed at once, but the king cannot rescind his own order. So rather, he signs a new edict that allows the Jewish people to arm and defend themselves against their would-be executioners, including the 10 sons of Haman. Thus, the Festival of Purim is held yearly to celebrate the deliverance of the Jewish people from Haman's plot, and this year will be observed on March 7th. Purim takes place just after Haman's execution. The genocidal order has already been sent out, and the players act as messengers delivering the new edict and preparing the Jews to defend themselves from the eventual attack. Players will simultaneously select action cards, which determine both what they may do and what the Sons of Haman will do. In order for the players to be victorious, every region of the Empire must have more good news from the messengers, represented by gold cubes, than there is wicked news from the Sons of Haman, represented by black cubes, at the end of the game. To set up, you'll begin by shuffling the action, messenger, and location decks. Most decks should be face down as usual, but for the location deck, place it face up once you're done shuffling. If you're playing the advanced variant, you'll also need to shuffle the Sons of Haman deck, but leave those out your first time playing. Gather the gold and black cubes and keep them in easy reach of all players. Take the calendar token, place it on Sivan, the first month in the track. After that, reveal the top 5 location cards and place a random Son of Haman token and 1 black cube in each. Now take the next 5 locations and place a random messenger meeple and 1 gold cube in each. It's important to note that the messengers do not represent individual players, but rather should be thought of as shared between all players. After that, take all of the location cards and reshuffle them, once again placing the deck face up. Repeat the earlier process with 5 more cards, this time placing the remaining Sons of Haman and once again placing a black cube alongside each of them. After that, reveal 1 messenger card. The matching colored meeple will have a special ability for this game. Finally, deal out action cards to each player, 4 each for a 4-player game or 5 each for a 3-player game. For a 2-player or solo game, you'll have special rules which we'll touch on in a little bit. And with that, you're ready to begin. To start each round, if you're playing the advanced game, you'll reveal 1 of the Sons of Haman cards, granting the matching token an ability to impede you. If you draw a Son of Haman that's already been removed, discard it and draw again until you get 1 that's still on the board. After that, we head into the action phase, which is where the meat of the game takes place. Without discussing what's in their hands or their choices, all players will choose to play 1 card from their hands, revealing them simultaneously. Once cards have been revealed, players may then freely discuss how to resolve them. All cards have an initiative number in the top left corner, and players will resolve them in order from lowest to highest. When resolving a card, you first do the loyal action, then the corrupt action. For now, ignore the end effect. Among other things, loyal actions can add or remove gold cubes, remove black cubes, reposition the messengers, disrupt the Sons of Haman, or even permanently remove them from the game. However, after the loyal action is resolved, you must resolve the corrupt action on that card. Conversely, these will often add black cubes or remove gold cubes or advance the calendar marker. But the most common action they'll take is to advance the Sons of Haman. When you draw a card with this action, you'll take all the Sons of Haman from a single region of the player's choosing and advance them to the region on the topmost location card. For each space that they move into, including the final space, each Son will produce one black cube. After all revealed cards have been resolved, you'll repeat this process until only one card remains in each player's hand. For the final play of a round, players will reveal the final cards in their hands, but this time the loyal and corrupt actions are both ignored. Instead, you'll resolve only the end effect on the bottom of each card, again going from lowest to highest initiative number. Whereas loyal actions are almost universally beneficial and corrupt actions are almost universally detrimental to the players, end effects tend to be much more of a mixed bag, with a blend of positive and negative effects. After all end effects have been resolved, you'll reshuffle the action cards and deal out new hands to each player just as at the start of the game. A new round begins, and play will continue like this until one of 3 end conditions is met, any one of which will end the game immediately. If you run out of gold or black cubes, or if the calendar track reaches the month of Adar, then the game is over. You do not resolve any further actions at this point. Instead, you'll now check to see if the players are victorious. Compare the number of gold cubes to the number of black cubes in each individual region. If the number of black cubes exceeds the number of gold cubes in any region, even just one, then the players have lost. Otherwise, the players have successfully fended off Haman's genocide and win the game. If playing solo or with 2 players, you'll have to make some small adjustments to the rules. For 2 players, when dealing out the cards, each player will get 2 hands of 4 cards each. They'll pick up 1 hand at a time and play through those cards, including resolving the end effects when reaching the last pair of cards. Then, each player will pick up their remaining hand of cards and play with these in the same manner before reshuffling the action cards and dealing out new hands as before. If playing solo, you'll instead have a single hand of 8 cards at the start of each round. You'll choose 1 action card at a time and then reveal the top card of the action deck, resolving both cards as normal. Once you have only 1 card remaining in hand, you'll reveal 2 cards from the action deck and choose 2 of the 3 cards to resolve their end effects, discarding the last one with no effect. Again, once end effects are resolved, you'll reshuffle the action cards and deal out a new hand as before. As this is a prototype copy, I'll not be going into component quality at this time. What I can say for the time being is the artwork is excellent, with unique images for each of the messengers and Sons of Haman. All in all, Purim is a very unique take on a familiar concept. You can clearly see the likes of Pandemic in its heritage, but it takes things in a very different direction. The way the action cards play out feels almost like an I cut you choose mechanic, although obviously that's not a one-to-one comparison. At its heart, I'd describe Purim as a non-traditional wargame, in the sense that Twilight Struggle is a wargame, although obviously Purim is a much lighter title. Thematically, I'm a bit more mixed on the game. On one hand, the theme is unique and the concept does make sense. On the other hand, the language does feel a little softened. When reading through the Bible, it makes no attempt to avoid discussion of warfare or genocide when it's appropriate to history. Thematically, it would probably make more sense if they said that the black cubes represent soldiers ready to commit the genocide, while the gold cubes instead represent Jewish soldiers that have been forewarned and armed to protect themselves. It's not a major problem, but it does feel a bit unnecessary. That being said, I'm still rather impressed with the game overall. The mechanics make it stand out, while it continues to build upon Funhill's reputation of having games that are both unapologetically Christian, but yet fully enjoyable without any knowledge of the Bible. As this is a prototype, I'll not be giving Purim a formal review score at this time. What I can say that this is definitely a title that fans of both historical and cooperative games alike should keep their eyes out for. Purim is hitting Kickstarter on March 1st, which means that yes, it will be running during the actual day of Purim this year. If you're interested in backing or learning more, links are included in the description. But what about you? What do you think of Purim? What non-Christmas holiday titles do you enjoy? If you have any questions, remarks, or opposing points of view, leave them in the comments down below. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and ring that bell. And if you really enjoy my work, please consider funding my channel on Patreon. Until next time, farewell, fellow fanatics. Thank you again for watching. I have plenty more to share with you if you're interested. You can click up here above my head to subscribe to my channel. You can click over here on my monitor to see the most recent video that I've worked on. Or if you prefer, you can click up here to open this mysterious vault and see what video that the YouTube algorithm has picked just for you.